Welcome back to She Asks, Tools for Practical Hope. In today's episode, we're going to explore the bold, the buried, the beautiful questions women ask when they're done pretending. I'm your host, Anna McBride. I'm a therapist, mother mirror holder, and midlife question asker right alongside you. Every week, we dive into the messy and magical moments that shape our lives after divorce, recovery, through reinvention, and in becoming who we really are. And this week on She Asks, we're asking the question, is sexting intimacy? So I have a story I want to start with. After I got separated, I started dating. I knew that after 36 years of marriage, that dating was going to feel foreign. I knew that. What I didn't expect was that I was going to discover that I had a magical superpower. I found out that I am really good at sexting, like really good, like maybe the best, maybe. And I fell into it because texting is the way people who date communicate. And I would get into these chats with guys that I met through dating apps and whatnot. And almost immediately after a few get to know you questions, things would heat up. They would want to know about my shape, about the clothes I'm wearing, about my preferences. It got steamy. And my texting style was always very polite, maybe very kind of flirty, until the first guy I dated. We're going to call this guy Jake. And Jake, oh, he had a gift. He and I had a banter going that I didn't know that I had it in me to text things that would make me blush, let alone someone else blush. But we had a banter where blushing was on the regular. I would send him a phrase and he would volley back with something even steamier. I thought I had tapped into this unknown, like the wild, like I was in the wild, dating and having conversations that were just about anything that I wanted it to be. And to me, having been in a marriage that was not intimate, and by that, I mean we were not able to be fully communicative about our desires, about what our turn-ons were or our turn-offs were. We just didn't have that in our dialogue. And then when you have that as your situation, it affects the way you are together in the bedroom. How could it not? So when I had this going with Jay, I thought I had hit the mother mode. Like this was something that I had come across. I had found it, like I had dug up a treasure. I thought I had discovered this must be intimacy. This is what intimacy looks like, right? Like that we're connecting and talking and bantering and having so much fun. And then the truth is that it did translate into really hot sex, like totally wild, totally liberating. And I imagined there was some connection between the two. I thought it was what intimacy really is. I want to also point out something here, just so that I'm being transparent with you. And that is one of the reasons why Jake was really good at all this is because Jake was a professional escort. Spoiler alert, he was. I went and found a professional to help me break through these nerves that I had around dating and communicating with men. And he was really good at it. And I still thought it was intimacy. I thought the story I was telling myself is Not only had I found the hidden gem to how you get back into the dating world after 36 years of marriage, I also found a man that I thought I could build a future with. It didn't happen. It didn't happen for reasons that you can only imagine, right? As I was unpacking the story at a recent Moth event, I realized that there were some lessons that I had to learn about what intimacy is, what intimacy isn't, and how sexting fits into it. One of the lessons that I found out is that desire without depth isn't connection. Like you can have deep desire for someone, yet if there's no commitment, if there's no real day-to-day connection where we integrate into each other's lives, that isn't a connection. Desire feels thrilling, right? And especially after the type of marriage that I had, it was really thrilling. But when it isn't grounded in care, or curiosity, or a commitment, it becomes hollow. There even was a study that was done in 2020 by Gallivan, and Gallivan found that while frequent sexters report more sexual satisfaction, they also reported less commitment, more relationship conflict, and a higher attachment anxiety, which is exactly what I was experiencing because I was becoming increasingly anxious about what this person was doing when he wasn't with me, about everything that I didn't know about him, about the parts of his life that he wasn't going to share with me. And so a takeaway from all this could be towards the lesson is that if someone wants your body, but not your story, that's not intimacy. It's consumption. Man, that's hard. That is really hard to accept, isn't it? That you think you've tapped into the mother lode only to find out that you're just being consumed or consuming. You're not really connecting. Yeah, just let that. Another life lesson is in terms of understanding that words without safety don't build trust. Words without safety don't build trust, and trust is important, if not a necessity, as a part of building intimacy. You can't craft the sexiest text in the world only to find out that there wasn't much truth about it outside the bedroom, meaning that the person can be such an incredible lover, yet outside of the room, if they don't follow through on other things that are essential to life, then there really is no crossover. It's just a chat thread. It's almost like a broken narrative. And for those of us that tell stories, we know that if we begin a story and then as it turns that it falls flat, then that's a broken narrative. When the characters don't follow through with what they're promising in those texting. And often what I was finding is that in my sexting with my Jake, it got to be like, oh, you're the best at everything. Oh, I can't wait to spend the rest of my days with you. Oh, we're going to go here, there, and everywhere together. And those sound great. You know, what woman doesn't want to hear those kind of promises? Yet, if they don't follow through with actions, with commitment, it's just words on a screen. And I love a good book. I love a great story. Yet eventually I have to close the book and live my life. And that's what we want to make sure we're having a safe navigation of our life that's based in reality, not just on these types of promises or, wishful thinking. Another life lesson is about objectification. Objectification feels like attention until it doesn't. At first, sexting was incredible. Like it was thrilling. It was fun. I felt like I was finally free to be me. The real me was coming out and coming through and getting engaged with. And I thought, because in my marriage, I really thought there was something wrong with me. And I thought that this first person I dated and all the sexting and all the connecting and all the great hot sex we were having Like it was proof that there wasn't something wrong with me. And it's true. However, it also was feeding a type of what became clear to me only after it was over, a bit of an addiction. And the addiction was about attention and attention in a certain way, where I was participating in my own objectification, as well as the objectification of the other person. And when we objectify each other, there's no intimacy. And in my marriage, I felt invisible. So this was making me feel very powerful at first. Yet in retrospect, I came to realize that it was really reducing me and my self-worth in the process. I was realizing that I wasn't being known. He wasn't getting to know me. I was being used, and I was using him also. And so that's not intimacy. There was a research study done in 2024 from the University of Guadalajara, which found that women over the age of 40 prefer sexting that includes emotional context and areas of warmth, not just sexual tension, because they're trying to seek an emotional connection through the words on the screen. And I don't know if you know this about texting, is that there's a projection, meaning we who read it project into it the emotions that we want to get from it. So we can take a phrase and make it a story of love in our head when that may not even be the person's intention. They might just intend to sexually connect or arouse. And the takeaway is that if you leave a conversation feeling hollow, like you don't really get the emotional connection that you were seeking, then it wasn't a connection. It was extraction, meaning that they were putting words out to you, phrases to you to get something from you. And that's not intimacy. So it's been quite a journey for me to reflect back on my sexting experience that followed my separation and through the beginning of dating again, dating in the wild, so to speak. And I realized that the lessons really had to do with lack of depth, lack of safety, and what was I seeking from that attention? And what was it creating inside me? A false narrative that led to, potentially could have led to a really serious addiction. And I'm grateful that I have tools that I utilize in the area of recovery that help me unpack that. So let's just take a breath here. Let that information settle in. And now we're going to ask ourselves a few questions. And the first one is, when have I confused attention for intimacy? When have I confused attention for intimacy? And then the next question is, what does it feel like to be truly seen without performing? Fully seen, maybe even accepted and appreciated for who you are. No performance, the real you. And then the third question, how can I express desire without abandoning myself? Oh, that's so important. How can I express desire without abandoning myself? I want you to write the answers that come up, the truths, no edits, just honesty. And now I want to pivot a little bit and let's get comfortable because I want to guide you through just a little meditation here to help us unpack this topic. So I want to invite you to close your eyes. Make sure you're in a comfortable seat where you feel supported. Take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. And just notice that you're relaxing into your seat. Let's do that 2 more times together. Long, slow, deep breath in. Maybe even sigh out as you exhale. Okay. Last one. Long, slow, deep breath in. Exhale. With your eyes closed, I want you to feel into the center of your chest, place where your truth lives, your heart center. And I want you just to gently listen to your heart as you ask yourself the question, what does intimacy feel like in my body? What does intimacy feel like in my body? Let that question, no rush, no judgment, just present. Maybe put your left hand on your heart and your right hand can be on top. What does intimacy feel like in my body? Ask yourself that question over and over. Notice what comes up for you. Meditation, we learn that the mind may make up story, but the heart always tells the truth. Take one more long, slow, deep breath in with me. Exhale out through the mouth. Let your hands relaxing. And when you feel comfortable, you could open your eyes. You're safe to ask that question. You're safe to even come to an answer. You can write that down. So as we wind up this episode today about whether sexting is intimacy, I want to leave you with some things to consider. Is that sometimes it mimics it. But is it the real thing? It's for us to ask ourselves. Ask ourselves, what does intimacy feel like? I love the word intimacy because it means almost what it sounds like, intimacy. And we want to be seen that way all the way through. And accepted and appreciated for all of that, loved for all of that. Not just the physical, not just the intellect, but the whole package. If this episode stirred something in you, I'd love to hear your story. Please reach out, leave a comment, write back, stay connected, because this is how we continue the conversation and get to know each other. And I want to get to know you as much as I want you to get to know. So this has been She Asked, and I'm your host, Anna McBride, where we explore parts of life, ask questions, get to know ourselves at a deeper level together. And until next time, be well.